Robert Kiyosaki said that being rich isn't determined by how much money you make, rather it's dependent on what you do with what you keep. Rich people do not work for money, they create it. They also spend their money differently. They buy assets, and they understand the difference between what the majority of people perceive as assets and real assets. The definition of an asset in the Oxford Dictionary is an item of property owned by a person or company, regarded as having value, and available to meet debts, commitments, or legacies. In the traditional sense, an asset can be your house, your car, your yacht, etc. The definition of a liability in the Oxford Dictionary is a thing for which someone is responsible, especially an amount of money owed and a person or thing whose presence or behavior is likely to put one at a disadvantage. This is traditionally debt. Although these definitions are correct, they're also somewhat wrong. Someone like Robert Kiyosaki defines an asset as something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability as something that takes money out. This is a very simplified definition, but it's very powerful. Consider this: you see your house as an asset. You pay your mortgage every month, as well as your taxes, levies, insurance, and maintenance. This means that money is flowing out. If you are living in that house, it's then considered a liability. But, if you rent the house out and your rental income covers all of the expenses, that same house becomes an asset. Because most people miss this very important detail, they end up calling a liability an asset. This is the reason why so many people struggle financially. The blame for this lies in our school system, not equipping kids with the fundamental financial education, and setting them up to fail. So much time is dedicated to teaching kids things they will never use, instead of the things that can truly be life-changing, like true financial literacy. Before we continue to the best part, please consider giving this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell, so you don't miss any new content. What Robert Kiyosaki considers to be assets are investment real estate, a business, books, art, and dividends from certain investments. These assets, according to him, are what the rich focus on when building their true wealth. He describes things considered assets by accountants and financial people to be liabilities hiding behind smoke and mirrors. An example of this is if you have a home you live in, and you pay a mortgage, taxes, etc. It takes money out of your pocket. It only becomes an asset when you sell it for a profit. But what happened in 2008 clearly demonstrates the fact that your home is a liability, when people had to sell their homes at a loss, or were foreclosed. With the proper due diligence, a rental house can be an asset. If your income from that house is more than your expenses, it puts money in your pocket, which makes it an asset. This is the reason people can become rich. They do not trade their time for money. The rich invest in assets that put money in their pockets. Assets can come in different forms, tangible and intangible. Tangible assets are things you can see, touch, and interact with. Intangible assets aren't physical things. This can be patents, copyrights, royalties, etc. Another concept is real assets and financial assets. What sets them apart is that while real assets have a real value, also called an intrinsic value, financial assets are valued by the value other people place on them. This may cause the value of a financial asset to fluctuate. Let's look at each of the assets in a little more detail. For each of these, there is a lot more information, and I can make a separate video for each, but for the sake of this video, I will give you a quick overview. 1. Investment property. An investment property is a tangible real asset, and is an asset when your income exceeds your expenses and brings in a positive cash flow. Investment properties can be residential properties like a home or an apartment, storage units, industrial and commercial properties, or even raw land. You need to do some legwork to find interesting deals. You look for underpriced properties that have potential. If you find a good deal that you can't do on your own, partner up with friends and family. Half a loaf is better than nothing at all. Property is harder to sell and may take a long time to liquidate. 2. Investing in stocks, bonds, and notes. These are intangible financial assets. For those who know what they're doing, stocks have huge potential. When you buy stocks in a company, you in essence, own a small part of that company. The more stocks you buy, the greater your ownership of the company. The way you make money with stocks is to sell the stocks for more than what you paid for them. But the stock price fluctuates and therefore it can go down in value. If you don't know what you're doing, this can be the same as gambling. The second way to make money with stocks is with dividends that are paid yearly, half-yearly, or quarterly. What this means is that you receive a percentage of the company's profits, depending on how many stocks you own. Stocks are quick and easy to liquidate. 3. Investing in a business or owning it. This is when you start a business or invest in someone else's business. You have full or part ownership in the business. These are companies that have certain elements in place. This is the type of business that you can leave to function on its own, and it will carry on operations with or without you. You are using other people's time and skills to generate an income for you. These companies usually have more than 500 employees, but there are smaller companies that function exactly the same. Although the business might own tangible assets like furniture, cars, or even a building, it's considered an intangible financial asset. 4. Intellectual property. Intellectual property is an intangible financial asset and includes things like owning the copyrights to a book, or a song, or a movie. You get paid a fee every time someone uses your asset for something. Artists get paid royalties for their music to be played on the radio or when it is used in a movie. The artist creates something once and then gets paid over and over for this work. This is an asset. The most important asset of all, in my opinion, is probably your brain. The right financial education makes everything else possible. The biggest mistake beginner investors make is to jump in before they properly understand the fundamentals. This can have devastating outcomes. You can't expect to build a high-rise building on a concrete slab. You need to dig deep and build proper foundations. It is the same with becoming rich. Without this foundation, you risk losing it all through costly mistakes or other people wanting to take advantage of you, and your lack of knowledge. I have included some recommended reading in the video description below. Check it out if you want to invest in your financial education. Also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.